Hey guys, this is T, and you're listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix with Gar and Josh. Enjoy the show, and remember, stonks do go up.
We had a T sighting in the Greasy Fucks this week, so I thought it was only right to have his intro on this show. It is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. Josh, we are just 2 days away from Thanksgiving. This is our Week 11 review. And with that, hello everybody and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by your other lovely host, the Josh and Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We appreciate everyone who chats along in the Discord. I believe we were active again today. We had Mick over the weekend. Al was asking a bunch of questions we'll address later. And Walters gets in there as well. We appreciate people who check out the segment. Start times down in the description below. It means they're paying attention to what's in the bio. And then we extra especially appreciate Mr. at Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram, the man responsible for all this art. We appreciate you, Levi Oki, and we are thankful for you on this Thanksgiving in 2023. Josh, how you doing, pal?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Is you just going to say that the whole pod?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm good.
Josh, just said, okay.
We're only a couple days away from Thanksgiving, or as I like to call it, thanks taking all the food off the table. But yeah, Gar, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing all right. I'm more curious not to turn it back to you immediately, but how was the anniversary? I got a snap from you at the pot that melts. It looked scrum-diddly, but how was the rest of your anniversary with your lovely wife?
It was good. I had a great time. We obviously went out to the melting pot and we ordered food that was delicioso. We got the Wisconsin trio of cheeses with the bread and the pretzel bread, and our server comes by and notices that we were just completely out of everything, and we're just sitting there staring off into space, and he goes, "Do you guys want more bread?" "Yes, please." Comes back with just another stack of bread, and I was like, "You, sir, just earned yourself a decent tip."
Nice, dude.
And then
the carb lovers.
And then we ordered the classic, which came with shrimp, pork, and then 3 different types of steak, I think. Or no, 1 chicken and 2 steaks. And I nommed gone all the way to town. And then Nikita had leftovers, so then I had it again the next day.
Oh, you stole Nikita's leftovers, dude? Not very anniversary.
She gave them to me.
Okay.
Okay. And then for dessert, there were many different options that we were debating on. There was like 3 of them on the list, and Nikita really wanted one. So as always, she wins. And so we tried the turtle shell. I don't even know what it was called, but it was salted caramel, essentially chocolate. Which, you know, it was probably my 3rd option on the list, but one of them was cookies and cream, and I just thought that it sounded amazing because it had marshmallow fluff, but at the same time, I could see why, you know, if you want chocolate, you don't want to go with something that's going to be marshmallow fluff. And then yin and yang, because I like white chocolate, because that's my nickname.
Little happy wife, happy life, Josh. Sometimes you just got to let Nikita have her turtles, you know?
Yep. But then, see, I'm pretty sure that we figured out the system, because the guy came by as we're finishing up kind of the last of our unique tray, our not individual, but our dessert tray. So they come out with a tray that we share, and as we're finishing it up, comes by and this is your tab. You know, you can pay. You know, you can insert your card in here, and then you could get pay. And he did that while we're still kind of eating. And I was like, okay, so I'm pretty sure they have like a little thing on there where they notice like how much you tip. Like they get notified, and then they come back and go, "Do you want any? You guys are almost done. Do you guys want pick 2 more desserts?" And I told the kid, I was like, I bet you if I clicked on the 10%, that guy would come back with like a half of what we asked for and spit on it. And like I said, if we put like 15%, he'd give us, you know, instead of like 2 little Rice Krispie squares, he'd give us 1 little Rice Krispie square each, and then 1 strawberry each. I said 20%, we're probably going to get 2 of each, like he said. And so when I put the 25% down, because he did a great job, he came back out, and pretty sure we could hear the dump truck backing up, just beep beep. But yeah, Then I checked my bank account and I was like, yikes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you had such a good anniversary. That was quite the tale, and I agree with you. I mean, the servers that you take care of will take care of you. That's the way she goes. Although I will say I'm opposed to card tipping whenever I can help it. I guess I don't know if you're a man who carries cash anymore. It is the year of our Lord 2023, but cash or tipping cash is always better for everyone. So, other than that, glad that guy hooked you up, and I'm glad you hooked him up. Are we ready to get into the show, Mr. Mitchell?
Yeah.
All right, Josh, we are skipping the rhyming wrap-up this week because I have a couple other Thanksgiving specials that'll come later in the show. So we're going to go ahead and move right into the fire in your gut.
Welcome back. Who drove over here? Quick, let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut? Did you? We're here for a reason. Don't get that twisted. Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast. Be who you are. Just understand, I'm looking for killers.
Woo! Josh, I'm feeling like a fucking killer, and I got some fire in my gut. It's apropos that Al has joined us in the crowd, Josh, because I only have one fire in my gut for time this week, and it's going to go a little something like this. My fire in my gut this week is people who count their chickens before they hatch, people who count their chickens before they roost. I'll trash talking the Lions too early. The fall off of the Lions was inevitable. And then what happened, Josh? Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery with the final score. They run, or I guess, no, that's not true. Aiden Hutchinson with the final score with the safety. Anyways, running down there. Winning the game, 8-2, Detroit Lions. Al, better be right if you're going to call your shot like that next time. Josh, you got any fire in your gut this week?
Yeah, I got a good fire. I got that roast to toast. It's the locking in a playoff spot with 3 weeks left in the regular season. Always gives you a nice little. Yeah, got it going in a couple leagues, so. Feeling great. I'm the only person to have locked down the Victoria's Secret, deflate these balls playoff spot. Brag about it. And I believe I am one of 3 in the champs branch out that locked down playoff spot.
Nice. That's pretty good. Certainly, I think I only have a playoff spot officially locked in one league, and it's in the league of record for us on this pod, I guess. And I think I've had it locked in for a couple weeks already. Brad, I know, has been eliminated from the playoffs for a couple weeks, so poor Brad. But
a couple years, probably.
Brad's had a tough go, but I'm right there with you, Josh. I've seen you. You're dominating out there. You're dominating the chant. Because I was checking on all the standings today as I was going through, clearing all my sleeper notifications and getting the note sheet ready for the show. I was like, God damn, Josh, you're on top in a couple spots.
Well, bigger they are, the harder they fall. The podcast following a loss is going to be excellent.
Excellent. All right, Josh, that was our fire in our gut. We're going to keep moving here. We're going to go to our senior trash correspondent, Forky. Josh, do you have a question for Forky?
Oh, I did write the first one. Forky, what did Quentin Johnson tell Herbert after the game?
I'm trash.
Forky, what is Zach Wilson if he's getting benched for Tim fucking Boyle?
Trash?
Forky, what do vegetables on Thanksgiving say to vegetables other times of the year?
You're just like me. Trash!
I like that third one, Josh. That was good.
Which kind of leads us right into our next segment. That's right. It's the one offer that we've done 3 times now. Gar's Gut Thanksgiving Feast Edition. Gar, we're going to change it up a little bit. I don't have description because I didn't want you to get confuzzled like you have in the past.
Yeah, my brain is too small.
So I've got a list of some of our staples, I would say, in the Thanksgiving plate. Mm-hmm. And next to them, in parentheses, is a kind of the description that was given to me on a website that was probably an opinion piece, but I don't care.
BuzzFeed.com?
I want you to give me a player, coach, or anything in the NFL related that you feel matches up with this food. Gar, who's your turkey of the season? the old reliable staple of everything.
The old rely, dude. That's a toughie, honestly. Because especially after this year, I mean, for a long time, I would say P-Riv, right? P-Riv was all reliable, 197, maybe 200 something. I don't remember how many starts in a row that guy had. Doesn't matter. Phil River was all reliable. You could always count on that man being in the game. Then I probably would have, the last couple of years, I probably would have transitioned to Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been quite the Iron Man himself, only missed a couple games, and not because of injury, one getting benched because of playoff position, and then, missed a COVID game. Otherwise, Kirk Cousins has been all rely, especially for the Skol faithful. But honestly, Josh, I don't, I'll give that answer to say I don't really have an answer these days. Nothing came to mind immediately. And maybe that's more disappointing than not, but I think we're kind of in a transition period here for the NFL. A lot of out with the old and in with the new, and I don't really have an old reliable at the moment. Hopefully in a couple of years, I've got a new one.
What about in fantasy? Like, is there like an old reliable that
Mike Evans.
Okay. So he's your old reliable, which, he's my cranberry sauce. We'll get to that. Okay, so he's in your lineup, set and forget type deal. Not bad. I would say my old reliable is disappointment for the Green Bay Packers fans.
I'll change my answer to Keenan Allen, sorry.
Okay, not bad. Next on the list, mashed potatoes. They're kind of the glue. They're at every single Thanksgiving. They're the popular option. They're the one that people gather around because, you can have the worst sides ever, but you're going to get graded on your mashed potatoes. So, Gar, who's that glue, that popular person?
Ooh, the one that really brings everything together? I feel like kind of controversial, maybe, but I think Josh Allen, when I think of the glue, kind of bringing the people together. It always kind of brings the fantasy squad to where it needs to be. I'm going Josh Allen.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't have any opinion on him either way, or not him, but just these foods in general. If anything comes to mind, I'll say something, but perfect. Next on the list, Gar, we've got green bean casserole. It's that yin and yang, that balance, the work-life balance is what they said. It's the only opportunity. It's the only reason for you to put any sort of vegetable on your plate is the green bean casserole. Gar, who brings balance to the NFL?
Josh, I wasn't expecting to get so deep on the pod today. I mean, that's a very interesting question. Balance to the NFL. I mean, that's got to be Roger Goodell. That's got to be the man himself, old commish. I mean, that guy, he was unpopular for plenty of years. He was kind of behind the times. Then I think within the last year or two, he's really kind of pushed himself forward. He's pushed a lot of, like Black Lives Matter type, not exactly, but, those types of initiatives. He's kind of gotten rid of the old bloated Susie G. Coleman, and now he's gone with the crucial catch. The league is very prideful these days, like the LGBT. So I think there's a lot of balance with Roger Goodell. He's an old white at the end of the day, but he's been trying to push the social stances of the league forward. So when I think of balance, I'm thinking of Goodell, the commission himself. All right.
Gravy. Something that, it's exciting. It's there. It may not look exciting. It's just this, most places it's brown goop, but you put it on your plate, it gets everywhere, and it actually adds to everything. Gar, who's the gravy of the NFL?
The gravy of the NFL. God, again.
Yeah, brings excitement wherever he goes.
Right. I wish I could have done a little bit of research. Just based on your description of brings excitement anywhere he goes. That's because your description of it doesn't look that great. I can't go with that. But just that brings excitement everywhere. That's got to be Pat Mahomes and or Tyreek Hill. Those guys are super electric. They're super freaks. Extra uber talented. Again, I can't endorse the doesn't look great thing. Maybe you could argue that for Pat Mahomes. He's kind of goofy looking. But if you're talking about exciting, that's got to be Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Absolute weapons.
Yeah, I would say Travis Kelce gets tossed in there because he's bringing Taylor Swift wherever he goes.
There you go.
Moving on, next we've got stuffing. It's one of those things that easy to fill up on. I know Ben has made a box of stuffing and eaten that just by himself.
Oh, dude, the stovetop, dude.
Yeah, that brings. And you know what? When I see stuffing, I think it's gonna be a great day. Positivity. Who's that? That positive burst of energy in the NFL whether it be on your fantasy team. Who's somebody that gets you excited when you see him on your team? Who's somebody that's excited gets you excited when you see him on TV? Just who are you stuffing, Gar?
Josh, for me, this is mainly. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He puts up stats, but if you've ever seen some mic'd up segments of this man, to me, when I'm thinking positivity, when I'm thinking that classic, like this guy brings the juice, I'm thinking of Dolphins defensive lineman Christian Wilkins. This guy is absolutely electric on his mic'd up segments. He's super goofy. He's just a ball of energy, and I vibe with his vibe. So I'm going Christian Wilkins of the Dolphins.
All right. This is one that I do have an opinion on, because when I think of the positivity, the stuffing, just kind of, you can't wait to hear what they have to say or to see what they do. George Kittle kind of comes to mind there, just with his antics on the sideline. But moving on, next we have something that is one of those things. It's probably the one on this list that is kind of acceptable every weekend. Dinner rolls. They're simple. They're elegant, but they allow you to be detailed. They can be used in many different ways, and yet they're such a simple thing. Gar, who's your Swiss Army knife, the dinner roll of the NFL?
Ooh, the Swiss Army knife. I mean, that obviously has to be CMC, right? Like, I think, the Swiss Army knife, he's somewhat reliable. Sometimes those rolls go stale. Sometimes those rolls get moldy. Sometimes those rolls get soggy. But at the end of the day, he's so versatile. He can do so many things. I got to go CMC.
I'm sorry, Gar, but if there's fresh baked, like out of the oven dinner rolls, they're not going to go moldy on me. They're not even going to get cool on me.
I'm agreeing with you. Prime dinner rolls is like prime CMC. I'm just saying there is a dark side to CMC as well.
Okay. Last on the list, we have something that, for some odd reason, you'll probably be able to guess which side I fall on this, but for some odd reason, it is on every single table during Thanksgiving time, and nobody touches it. I don't know if it's just, if people do touch it, it must have the ability to regrow what has been taken from it, because it is just an alien goop. Cranberry sauce. Gar, it's you have a very strong opinion one way or another, it seems, when it comes to this item. Who are you very opinionated on when it comes to the NFL? Somebody that, may not get the same opinion from other people.
I can think of a couple players, Josh, but certainly the last couple years, a player I've avoided like the plague. They've had one good year. They had, they're a one-hit wonder. For me, it's got to be Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, I've avoided him forever. Coming into this year, I considered it. I drafted him on one team. I've dropped him since. Miles Sanders is the cranberry sauce for me.
All right. Now,
and you said yours was Mike Evans.
Yeah, just because the 1 year I had him was his 1 year where he decided, he'll still get 1,000 yards, but he's going to get 500 in the last 2 weeks, gotcha. And it doesn't matter throughout the rest of the season. Gar, now I'm going to put you on the spot. We went over 7 different items here.
Yep.
Rank them.
Ooh, rank. All right, so am I ranking the players or am I ranking the actual Thanksgiving food?
Nope, the actual food. So turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. I mean, gravy's, I don't know why people consider it a separate thing. It's
for a long time, I didn't like gravy, to be fair. I was a big butter taters kind of guy, so I can understand. Gravy can be controversial.
That's kind of where I go too. So I don't consider it like its own food. So if you want to take that off and just go between cranberry sauce, dinner rolls, stuffing, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, and turkey, rank them.
Number 1, obviously stuffing. That's not even a question. I mean, anyone who would think any differently is silly. Stuffing, number 1. Number 2, we're going taters. Love me some taters. Again, I've only come around on gravy the last couple of years, so that'll be ranked a little bit lower. Number 2, taters. Number 3, I'm going to go dinner rolls. Because again, like Josh said, a freshly baked dinner roll with some butter on there. That's why the B came out of my mouth, because I was already thinking about that butter I'd be throwing all over these dinner rolls. That's got to be number 3. Number 4, I'll go turkey. Not the white meat, not the dry ass, so your aunt's been using the same sorry ass pan and oven and recipe for 20 years. You need some good, moist, dark meat. But good turkey is good, don't get me wrong. But that's why it's a little bit further down the list. That's why it's number 4. Number 5, we're going to go with the green bean casserole. I've had some good ones, I've had some bad ones. It's just too unreliable and too inconsistent for me to appreciate it. I had some great, JWoww will never listen to this, but big shout out to JWoww. I had some green bean casserole over the weekend that JWoww's making, and it was pretty good. So his would be ranked probably 2 or 3. Then what was that, 5? So 6 would be gravy, and then because again, I mean, it's good. I'll definitely dump it on my plate these days, but historically I haven't been the biggest fan. And then last would be that cranberry sauce, Josh. I don't even want to rank it, but if you're gonna force me.
JWoww's green bean casserole, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Was it a Friendsgiving thing?
It was, yeah.
I would say that top of the list, dinner roll.
Oh, okay, Mr. Carb
Stuffing's up there as well. Then it's gonna go green bean casseroles. 3, 4 is mashed potatoes. 5 is turkey. 6 is the napkin in which I use to wipe everything off my face. I'd eat that before I touch the cranberry sauce.
Jesus. All right. Well, I appreciate that Gar's Gut segment, Josh. That was a good one. That was a very festive one. Are we ready to get into the weekly recap here, my friend?
I believe so.
All right, Josh, what happened? Actually, no, you did a lot of talking. I'll start. We always start the weekly recap with a little bit of grain of salt so you people know how we're doing our fantasy, so you know whether or not you should listen to us. Josh, as I've done for the majority of the weeks this season, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 11th week. I've gone 6-4. 6-4 is my magic number. Again, too many losses at the top of the sheet. Don't like that. But 6-4 on the week, 74-36 on the year. So I'm batting 6-2-3 there. Or 6-7-3 there, excuse me. Going down to the intellectual property, Josh Allen Bunker Incorporated. If I were to play every team in every league, I would have gone 61-30 this week. I've bitched about it every year. Every week I'm gonna bitch about it again. I got another loss in my most expensive league, the potential $1,000 winner league. I have the most points for in that league. I am 6-5. I also have the most fucking points against. I cannot catch a break. 3 of my 4 losses, I've been a top 3 score. 4 of my 5 losses have been a top 5 score. I can't. It's a 12-team league. I can't catch a break, Josh. These losses are coming fast and heavy, and I'm getting really unlucky, and it's starting to piss me off. I've fallen down the standings to 4th place, with the most points for. Anywho. So yeah, I went 61-30 on the week, and then if I were to play all the teams all year, I would be 756-426. So that would be batting 6-4 essentially, 6-4-0. So not my best week, but it's certainly a nice bounce back week. I'd been trending pretty far down the last couple weeks, and this was a nice little bounce back week. How'd you do in fantasy this week, Josh?
I went 7-2. Got wins against all the medians. I lost in two of my dynasty leagues, the Butt, Sweat, and Beers League, against your team that's apparently trash yet scored the most points this week, or second most points.
Second most, please. Thank you.
And then I ran into Derek, and Derek must have been on a revenge tour because I think he put up 180 against me in the Hidden Oaks dynasty.
He sure did.
And then half my team got hurt before the game, or like early in the game, so that was fun. But yeah, so 7-2 on the week against everybody using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated. I went 45-21 for a 68% win. And I guess overall I'm at 68.69%, 68-31. But my against everybody for the season, I'm 373-232, 61.65%.
Not bad for a white guy. Moving on to the FanDuel top 3, Josh, you take the fucking crown. I don't remember if this is the first, second, third time or whatever, but Josh, you're killing it in the FanDuel. I came in second, not too shabby, with 119.94. Levi Oki came 115 in third place. Josh, I'm never going to look back to fact check this, and the leagues are gone, so I'd have to just look at word notes. But I think this might be the first time ever you and I have come in first and second. Genuinely, I think that's true, because usually you and I are pretty bad at this. So shout out to the podcast host, dude. Moving on. Shout
out to Austin Eckler too, who was my lowest scoring player yet the most expensive one I picked up.
Looking at the leaderboard, Cody stays up top. He was in the top 3, but he improved his lead. Must have improved his bottom score by just enough. He is now sitting at 670.44. He increased his lead by about 7 points. Derek stayed at the same spot in second. He's at 662.8. And Josh, you are in third place with 657.96, so basically 658. I know I'm less than 1.5 or 2 points behind you. It's a real close race. I know my lowest score is lower than your lowest score, so I'm hoping I can just pump up that floor. But right now, Josh, you're sitting in the money yet again. Al and Walt, I know you guys are both players of the FanDuel Pod Play Along. Better pump those numbers up. Can't but you like telling Josh and I about our bad takes, but here we are. Or Josh is in the top 3. I'm 4th. Where are you guys at? Don't see you up here, so let's see what you can do.
Speaking of bad takes, Walters, are you really going to stand by the fact that you think this COD is the best COD in the last 4 years?
When did he say that?
He said it in Victoria's Secret, but
really?
I know he can't rebut me unless he types something in, and I'm sure his fingers are typing fast and furious right now. It's not even the best COD in 2023. Is
there another COD in 2023?
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, Josh, this would be the point, just the same way you pulled a bit of a topsy turn on me. I'm going to pull a bit of a turn on you. I feel slightly bad for Micah because we've ignored his question a little bit. Just rapid fire, Josh. We can still address this next week since Joe Burrow's not going anywhere. Do you think Joe Burrow is injury prone or not? Just yes or no?
No.
All right. But anyways, I even typed out the full notes as far as Josh knows. We are doing the Hogs at the Market segment, which we are not doing at all tonight. We are actually going, so hopefully you didn't put a lot of work into preparing for that, Josh, but we are going to do something else. We are going to do what Al has dubbed Takesgiving. We've got a little bit long. We used to get voicemails, and we haven't asked for much fan interaction at all this year. We've just asked a couple times for, a start sit or a buy sell or something. But because Anchor's not a thing anymore, it's now podcast or Spotify for podcasters. We've got a bit of a lengthier voicemail. I think it's about 4.5 minutes. But Al has blessed us, and we're going to hear what he has to say. And then, Josh, we're going to speak to it. So I don't know if you want to take notes or not. But let's see what Al has given us for his holiday cheer and his takes.
Hey, Josh and Gar. Fan interaction has been down, so I decided to celebrate Takesgiving early and give takes to those who have given us takes all year, even if they've been kind of shit. Yeah, Boo. That's you guys. So without further ado, here are my takes. Starting off with a couple appetizers for you. Winning culture is more important than tanking for a higher pick. Somebody's got to pick 12th, guys, and it might as well be the Packers, right? It took me a while, but Jags are contenders. Everyone is debating Cousins or Dobbs, but why not both? That Hawkinson to Dobbs pitch on 4th and 1 very well could have been a soft launch to our 2-quarterback on the field system that would put Taysom Hill to shame. Is it too much to ask to go a full fantasy season without having to hear about a star player not caring about my fantasy team? I'm trying to leave a legacy over here. Walters is featured way too much on this pod. And now here's the Panic Man with the meat and potatoes of Takesgiving.
Happy Takesgiving to you as well. I thought that I would have a few takes of my own here during this holiday season, so let's get down to it. After watching the games in Week 11, I don't know which fan base is more desperate to have their team needs addressed. Is it the New York Jets fans begging for a quarterback not named Zach Wilson? Or is it the Kansas City fans pleading for a wide receiver who can catch a pass? From my perspective, it's the New York Jets, and it's not even close. This season, the Victoria's Secret Fantasy Football League eliminated the defense position, and it got me to thinking that all dynasty leagues should, at a minimum, remove the defense position and allow players to score points for kickoff and punt returns. I would even take it a step further and say that dynasty leagues should have at least 1 to 2 IDP slots so you can have the elements of defensive points in your matchups. In redraft leagues, team defenses are just fine. ESPN, Sleeper is kicking your ass in the ability to customize your fantasy football league settings, and more people keep going over to Sleeper. I hope you would rectify this problem and start getting leagues to come back to your platform, because the UI in Sleeper is still hot garbage. After witnessing all of the quarterback injuries this season, I'd like to take the time to place all of the blame on the NFLPA. They lobbied so hard for their precious little quarterbacks to be able to go untouched while on the field and while in practice that they basically made all NFL quarterbacks fragile. And you may have seen other key contributors on your team suffer catastrophic injuries as well, and that's because the NFLPA thought it would be a good idea to eliminate padded practices in the offseason and shorten training camp to 3.5 days. We need to rub some dirt on it, get back out there, and get back to what all NFL fans want to see. Big hits.
He means tits.
Hey, did you hear? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are dating. I'm sure all of us have heard enough about it, and I just wanted to say that I think it's all a hoax. Taylor Swift needed more exposure to finally become a billionaire, and Travis wanted to get his podcast follower numbers to the moon and increase his jersey sales so that he could finally have enough money to build a house that makes Patrick Mahomes' house look like child's play. So you know what they decided to do? They drew up a contract to make it appear as if they were dating. So, if you hear somebody tell you that Travis will be stuffing more than the turkey this year at Thanksgiving, don't be afraid to push back and call BS on this mutually beneficial scam. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is by far the funnest Call of Duty game within the last 4 years. Period. MW19, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, they are all inferior to Modern Warfare 3. That's going to wrap up my Takesgiving, and I hope that everybody else gets to enjoy the best season of all. Al, back to you.
Thanks, Walt. I just wanted to end this with a little takeout dessert, if you will. If there were a toilet bowl in the NFL, I would say the Falcons are the worst team. Feel free to comment on any of the takes today, but at bare minimum, I want the top 5 worst teams in the NFL as of right now from Josh and Gar. Go. P.S. There's still room on the Wolves bandwagon.
Thank you so much, Al and Walters, for the Takesgiving. Josh, of course, Al has asked us to transition right away into our bottom 5 quarterbacks to address his question. But even before that,
quarterbacks or teams? I wasn't listening.
I think it was bottom 5 teams. He also did ask the start sit question, which we'll address as well. But we're not going to address every single take in there. Obviously, Walters is the king of bad takes. I'm not going to waste my breath addressing every single silly thing he says. But is there any take or a couple takes that stood out to you in particular that you're like, I have to address this, I have to rebut this? Or do you just want to, anything stick out to you like that besides the Call of Duty one?
I'm trying to remember. There was a lot. First off, thank you guys for all that, the unpack. I will say, Al, I did not know that you'd be on the Timberwolves bandwagon. I figured that you were a true fan. But I guess you learn something new every day, unless you're driving that bandwagon, in which case it's still a bandwagon. Overall, I'm trying to remember. Padded practice one, who cares? Injuries happen. I do think that you guys should waste a position and have a 2 QB system. I feel like that would go over very well. I guess, Gar, what do you have? Maybe I'll remember something as we go back to it.
Walters definitely did talk about the T Swift Travis Kelce thing. I addressed that. I'm not going to go pull up the tape, but I said that like within the first or second week that they had become, public as they were being shipped as a couple. Obviously, if it's a big marketing thing, it's genius. I'm not saying it's not genuine relationship because it looks pretty genuine, from what I can tell. But I don't know that Walters said anything novel there. I don't know if that's a hot take that this could be a big marketing ploy for the two. And that's been addressed by many people. So I'll diminish that Walters take. And I also thought I didn't have much against what Al said. I think it was the Walters take that because we're practicing less, all the players in the leagues are soft or quarterbacks are soft. I think that's another silly take. I don't know. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, we'll move on then to the bottom 5 teams of the league. This was prompted in the chat. You already put yours in the Discord, so I guess I'll let you go first. Do you feel confident in that list? Do you want to elaborate on anything you said? I think it's a pretty good list, but I guess do you want to explain why you picked those teams in your bottom 5?
Yeah, Carolina obviously hasn't. They have won 1 game now. They just have no weapons. They have nobody. Like, their defense is supposed to be okay, but they're just have no offense. If Adam Thielen I addressed it early in the season, I think like week 2 of the rhyming wrap up. If Adam Thielen's your wide receiver 1, you're gonna have a hard time. Yes, he's a Minnesota favorite. He's good. He was good, I should say. But he was barely pushing that, able to be a wide receiver 1 on a team when he was in Minnesota. That's why they had Diggs and Jefferson, and so it is one of those things like, yikes, he has nothing around him. And then Miles Sanders, you already talked about him earlier, so I won't go into whole lot of detail on him. Next, New England. They are, they're bad. Bill's checked out. He wants that all-time win record, but he's probably going to have to, at this rate, he's going to have to play for 5-6 more years. Arizona, they're next. Kyler's back. That's great. He failed to convert on 3 4th down conversions at the end of their game. So no chemistry, no practice. He's playing better than he usually has, and that's because this year's COD is trash, so he hasn't been playing it. After that, Giants. Danny DeVito's cousin, I don't even know, son is quarterback. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But Brian Daboll, I sent a meme in the chat. You could flip his head upside down and it's still a head. Hilarious. He's just a meme in his own. And then after that, the Titans, kind of a spicy take there, but they're not very good. Mainly because I had their kicker and I watched as they just failed to put up any points. I do think Falcons are, I don't know if they're the worst team in the NFL, but they're probably the worst team to watch in the NFL. Besides, the Jets is just a fire. So watching the Jets is actually kind of entertaining if you like to dooms watch. But the Falcons are just boring. So, Gar, do you have any takes?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Al said he thinks the Falcons are the Falcons are the worst. I'm with you. I'm on the Panthers bandwagon, and that's obviously they have some good pieces. Like Bryce Young should be good, hopefully not this year, but hopefully next year. Adam Thielen probably has another year or two in him. They have a couple other exciting players. I can't think off the top of my head, but I think they're, what is it, Brian Burns? Is that the right player? Anyways, but Frank Reich's got to go, and if Frank Reich's around another year, that's going to be a messy organization. I think the Cardinals will figure it out, so I'm not with you there. I do think Billy B is fully gone. That the Patriots team is going to be torn down, so they're my 31st in the league right now. Billy B, I think, will go on to another team and have a little bit of success, maybe get that win record, but I agree. Patriots, as is, are done. Next for me, I think I'll go with the Commanders. Ron Rivera has checked out. Who knows what they're going to do there? New ownership group, a lot of uncertainty. Certainly Sam Howell looks exciting. They have plenty of exciting players on that team, but right now, if you're looking at the head coach, that gives me a lot of question marks, and I think they're going to flirt with obscurity more often than not, as long as that culture doesn't change. So I think that's a big problem for the Commanders at the moment. I'm with you on the Titans, obviously. Kind of in a reverse. I think their team is just bad. I think maybe their GM needs to go or something. I love Vrabel. There's no question I love Vrabel. Obviously, some of those hard-nosed defensive guys can go stale, just the same way Zimmer did, but I don't think Vrabel has outlived his welcome just yet. I think he just needs a better team around him. Derrick Henry's about to be out. Ryan Tannehill's about to be out. It's about to be a whole new Titans within the next year or two. And then, what would this be, 28th? I don't know who I'd go with for 28th. Maybe the Bears. I don't know. Who's their head coach right now? Is it Eberflus? I don't know what to think about that team. But
yeah, Eberflus.
I'm not sure if Vrabel has GM control or not. I genuinely don't know.
I think he does.
Is that new? I feel like they just fired a GM either during the during the season last year, or in the offseason coming into this year. So I believe that's a new thing, but I could be wrong. I'm not staking my reputation on that. But those are my bottom 5 teams. Again, the worst team was the Carolina Panthers. Frank Reich is just not it. Josh, we're obviously already over on time, but looking at those quarterbacks, we're only addressing the start-sit right now because Brock plays on Thursday. Do you like Brock versus Seattle, Tua versus the Jets, or Kyler versus the Rams?
I think that the Jets, the Jets defense kind of scares me. Josh Allen just had a decent game, and this is another division game, so who knows how it's going to go. They'll have the ball a lot because the Jets offense is going to be run by the human cigar, Tim Boyle. And Brock's been hot the past few weeks after the bye, so that would be a very tempting play, just because of he's got that hot hand. And then Kyler, I think he has a more favorable matchup. It's a good ask. Personally, I guess I would go Brock. I think that game has more potential to be kind of not a shootout, but it'll be closer than the Kyler Rams is probably going to be pretty close too. So I would go Brock, Kyler, Tua.
I think I'd go Tua, Brock, Kyler. I mean, that's a tough one. I don't know, honestly. That is a toughie. Maybe I'd go Tua, Kyler, Brock. I think Tua just has the biggest home run potential. I think Tua has the highest ceiling of the three, just based on the good offense that the Dolphins have. Even if they're playing a good defense with the Jets, I mean, Tim Boyle, I think, will falter. So I'm going Tua, and then Kyler. I think he's been putting in some rushing production already. Kind of upset he doesn't seem to have the chemistry he used to have with Hollywood Brown. Hopefully that comes around. And then Brock. Yeah, I don't know. Division games are tough for me. All three of these are division games, and I don't know. Tua to me has the highest ceiling, so that's what I'd go. Lastly, Josh, I assume your question or your answer is going to be really quick to this. We'll say this and then get out of here. Do you ever give consideration to what your opponent's lineup is when you're setting your own lineup?
Occasionally, and that's usually when I make the most mistakes.
Okay, really? I guess I just assumed your answer would be no. But maybe I shouldn't have thought that. I guess what are some considerations you have?
I mean, really, it's just truthiness. No, I guess if I have, like, sometimes if I'm debating on two running backs and they have the defense that they're going against, I'll toss the running back in that, is going up against that defense because their score essentially could lower their points.
Sure, the correlation.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things. But as far as like pass catchers and things, same thing. Like if I have two wide receivers that I need to toss into my flex and they have the quarterback for one, I'll toss the one that, if it's just a kind of literally a coin flip, that's what it's going to be. Is it going to be the one that if he's catching passes from my opponent's quarterback, then yeah, that's probably going to be the one that I toss in.
All right, I feel it. For me, I never ever get a consideration. I don't, obviously sometimes there's just going to be stacks. Sometimes you have the quarterback to their receiver. Sometimes you have the receiver to their quarterback, that sorts of things. I generally don't consider that at all. I just set my lineup and then the matchup plays out how it is. We always joke about, having all these points. I guess got to play better fantasy defense, but I guess the way I see it, my line or what they do with their team is completely out of my control. And maybe it makes me a bad fantasy player, but I've never considered it once. Maybe I should, but I just set my lineup to the best of my ability and hope for the best on any given Sunday.
Yep. As far as going back to Al's start sit, I looked it up on Sleeper and in the Champions Branch Out League, which I know has wonky scoring system, so it's probably not the best one, but it's the first one that I pulled up. Tua and Brock are literally 0.1 points away from each other. So Brock has 255.2 and Tua has 255.1. So they're very close as far as just overall points go. Yeah, it's a different scoring system, but it is going to be Brock has 18 pass touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Tua has 21 and 8. Both. Oh, the pass rating thing is weird, but Brock missed a couple games with the concussion, or he left early. He also has more rush touchdowns, but so those kind of toss it between those two. Kyler's way down there because he stinks.
I mean, his average per game's got to be pretty good. He put up, I know he has 100 rushing yards and a touchdown, I think, in his first game. So, anywho, we're about to hit 45 minutes. We got to get the hell out of here. But again, we thank you so much, Al and Walters, for the free content. I know you guys are a bit of podcast orphans at the moment, and we appreciate you bringing your talents and your consideration and your time and your effort to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix. We appreciate you as listeners. We appreciate you as contributors. Josh, do you want to go ahead and say go Packers, or do you want to say anything you're thankful for since and also we'll be broadcasting on Friday morning instead of Saturday morning because I have to go out of town. Josh and I both have Friday off, so we're going to do our preview show on Friday morning. But Josh, anything you're thankful for this year? Anything you want to shout out, or just want to hit go Packers and leave?
I'm thankful for the opportunity to podcast with my friend Garlic.
Jeez.
I'm also thankful for the fact that I got 9 fingers, so it'll be a little bit more of a competition when it comes to a Turkey Bowl on Thursday. Makes it even for you guys. Probably going to have to cut off a couple more to make it even more equal. I'm going to be running seam routes on you all day, at least once, and then probably get too tired to continue. No, I'm gonna say go Packers, and I'm gonna go watch Bye Bye Barry.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We love you. We're thankful for you. Goodbye.
Go Packers.